Oh. I've spent about 10 hours in Harkyn's castle so far. And it isn't getting any easier. Welcome to the Bard's Tale Diaries, a series where we relive the Bard's Tale on the Commodore 64 the way it was meant to be played. Mapping dungeons, jotting down clues, and making plenty of questionable decisions. As I work my way towards defeating Mangar, I'll dip into the game's rich history and take time to appreciate the graphics, systems, and design choices that help make it such an iconic classic. So, where were we? Oh yeah, our party of adventurers has now finished 2 entire dungeons. First it was the sewers underneath the Scarlet Bard Tavern, and then we cleared out the Catacombs underneath the Temple of the Mad God, where we escaped with an odd treasure, an eye. Our party, Ulrich, Sturm, Ozzy, Yolo, Raceland, and Gandalf, are all sitting around level 14. Well, not Sturm. He was drained of a level by the specter of King Ealdrek in the Catacombs. But he'll be okay. He's still tough as nails, which is great, because now we're off to... Wait, where are we off to? I don't know. I have no idea what's next. We defeated the enemy and explored almost every block, all 484 of them, of that final catacomb level. And I say almost because I missed whatever clue tells us where to go next. So I guess we're heading back. Okay, we're loaded up and ready to go. Let's hit those catacombs. Again. The road to adventure always starts at Garth's equipment shop. Hi, Garth. We're loaded with items from our trips to the catacombs, and it's always a good idea to sell them. And it's not even about the money anymore. I'm flush. It's now mostly about clearing up inventory space. Huh. But even so, that's rather tempting, isn't it? But not today, Garth. 25 grand is a lot of gold, but I feel like I'm going to need this. Maybe he'd sell it back to me, maybe he wouldn't. Either way, I don't want to fight Ealdrek again, so I'm keeping it. Okay, we're back in the catacombs. There's only one small area that I missed exploring on the 3rd level. And of course, it was exactly what I was looking for. There's a message there written in blood. It's always written in blood, isn't it? Seek the Mad One's stony self in Harkyn's domain. Huh. So I guess that means that the spectre I killed, King Ealdrek, wasn't the Mad One. Which makes sense, actually. King Ealdrek was never called the Mad God. Tarjan was. And he's apparently made of stone and is located in Harkyn's domain. Which is probably right here. Kyliran's tower is in the northeast corner of Scarabray, and Mangar's fortress is in the southwest, which means this last castle is probably where we need to go. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get out of here. This area is guarded by a statue of a stone golem. This actually makes me think that we're in the right place even more. He's made of stone. And the clue mentioned the Mad God's stony self. Either way, I have to fight him. And yeah, no problem. But he saw through my illusion and red disappeared. Ugh, that's 10 spell points. But that's okay. Raceland is loaded now. Huh, and another guardian. This time a grey dragon. Still, no problem. But he saw through my illusion and I lost red again. This is annoying. Fortunately, Roscoe's is just around the corner so I can recharge before going any farther. But it's making me realize that having an illusion as a party member probably doesn't work very well once the monsters get smarter. And here we go, the castle of Baron Harkyn. It's always fun entering a new dungeon, and I'm expecting lots of new monsters and loot. I've always loved how the Bard's Tale uses text to describe the environments, almost like a dungeon master would in Dungeons & Dragons. The graphics were extremely limited, so descriptive text did a lot of heavy lifting. And it works. I can almost picture this scene. And already, I'm sensing a change in the dungeon. It feels harder. Every battle seems to include multiple groups of monsters, and Raistlin is just blowing through his spell points casting Mindblade. But on the flip side, we're just raking in experience points. Oh, isn't this interesting? We're in a huge room, almost like an audience chamber. There are 4 main doors that exit from it, each guarded by a stone golem. And then there's a hallway to the north. And those golems aren't that tough, but they all see through the illusion, and I keep losing rad. Honestly, I think I'm just better off traveling without a companion for a while. 10 spell points every couple of battles isn't worth it anymore. Maybe someone else, someone real, will join me later. And cool, we entered this door on the east side of the audience chamber and followed a short hallway. Members only, huh? Well, I'm pretty sure I paid my membership dues, so let's see what this is about, Harkyn. Oh, anti-magic field? I feel like this whole dungeon is designed to drain spell points. And now I'm in jail apparently. I hit a teleport trap and it sent me directly here. That's efficient justice. And it smells like sulfur, which is never good. This entire hallway seems to be an oven or something. They're not traps, so there's really no way around them. But it at least explains the sulfur smell and why we're taking a ton of damage. And just around the corner from the scorching hallway is a room filled with spinners. These are just the worst, and having a bunch in a row like this is really just cruel and unusual punishment. Which seems to be the theme of this entire level so far, actually. But I still haven't run into any guards yet, which makes me think that they are beside that anti-magic field that I found earlier. And yeah, here they are. Oh cool, they're berserkers. I remember these guys, actually. And yeah, they aren't very good. Robes, huh? I also remember this, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I even want to wear them. But it turns out that doesn't matter. None of my adventurers had any inventory space for them, so I didn't keep any of the robes anyway. Inventory management is definitely a thing in the Bard's Tale. Each character has 8 slots, and if they're full, you simply don't pick anything else up. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you when you're full, so you have to actively manage it. Which I haven't been doing very well, so no robes for us. Either way, Raistlin is getting really low on spell points, so it's time to bolt and maybe cash in on all those experience points I've been getting. Which turned out to be a good decision. Raistlin and Gandalf both leveled up, and Raistlin gained level 2 wizard spells, which gives us lesser summoning, which means we can summon a demon, a real one, as in not an illusion. This could be a game changer. I've been thinking more about these robes. Here's the thing, there's a big battle coming later that can be avoided if I'm wearing them. Which I'm not sure I want to do anyway, because the battle is worth a ton of experience points. But I don't know. I feel like just having the option would be a good thing, so I decided to fight the guards again and pick up the robes. That's actually one of the coolest things about the Bard's Tale. It doesn't remember what you've done in a dungeon, so if you lost an item, or just want to replay a scripted fight, you can always do that. So, now I have the robes. We'll see if I use them. So this is funny. After getting the robes, I teleported directly to this spot to continue exploring the area. And look what I found! I don't remember exactly what the crystal sword does, but it's an important quest item. And it feels like something a paladin would use, so here you go, Sturm. Basically, I lucked into the treasure from a boss battle without fighting the boss, who is probably waiting for me on the other side of this door. And it only seems right to face whatever it is, so... Well, hello there. Oh, this doesn't look good. A Jabberwock, what the hell? And it isn't good. This guy is just cutting through us, and to make matters worse, I can barely hit him. There goes Ulrich. Oh, finally. Good job, Ozzy. That's it? I lost 2 party members and gave myself PTSD for 900 experience points? Thanks, Bard's Tale. And Harkyn's castle? It means business. I returned to Skara after the Jabberwock fight, and now we're healed up and have recharged our spell points. Time to head back in to start exploring the west side. Which turns out to be mostly uneventful. There was some darkness, which is annoying, and there was no shortage of fights, but nothing out of the ordinary. No crystal swords, no robes, and thankfully no more Jabberwocks. Which leaves the hallway to the north, which turns out not to be a hallway at all. It's the Baron's throne. Who should sit? I remember this part actually, so instead of a bunch of trial and error, let me just remind you that this game is called The Bard's Tale. And there we go. Remember all that discussion a few episodes ago about whether I should keep the Bard at all? Well, I'm glad I did. And hey now, what's this? Well, aren't we just a bit excitable? Not much of anything, really. This guy was easy. But you've got to appreciate his enthusiasm and loyalty. Harkyn must be a good employer. But you know what's not all that easy? All the other monsters around here. Harkyn's castle is a beast. I'm not in any real danger of getting wiped out, but it's an absolute drain on spell points, and the fights are relentless. Which just means that I have to explore a bit and then return to town to recharge and level up. And speaking of, most of the party leveled up, so more hit points and better ability scores for everyone. And even better, Gandalf got level 5 sorcerer spells, which means he and Raistlin can both cast Mangar's Mind Blade. I think Harkyn's castle just got a bit easier. There were still a couple of interesting rooms left to explore. I found a no trespassing sign, which seemed promising, but no one was there. And I also found the royal bedroom, which also seemed promising. But again, nothing was there. So, I guess it's time for level 2. Well, this sucks, again. Remember when I had a corrupted disk problem in episode 5 that nearly derailed my entire adventures? Well, it happened again. My character disk is corrupted. Fortunately, I learned my lesson and I've been keeping backups of the disk. Well, mostly. My most recent backup was from the start of this episode. It's in good shape, but it means that I have to continue with characters that are a couple of levels lower. Which also means that I've lost lesser summoning and Gandalf can't cast Mind Blade yet. It's frustrating, but it could have been much worse. At least I can continue. I just wish I knew what was happening. In any event, on to level 2 of Harkyn's castle. I have to get the crystal sword and robes again, but that will be quick. I'll just teleport to each and grab them before venturing further. Well, isn't this something? Why, yes, you can join. And wow, the second level is really delivering on the new monsters. Copper dragons, lesser demons, seekers, lurkers. And it's delivering on new items too. I found a magic mouth and a hawk blade. And speaking of delivering, the monsters are too. They are tough. And as with level 1, it's costing me a ton of spell points to stay alive up here. And then sometimes they just kill one of my wizards. So we'll be taking some short jaunts and returning to town. Which is at least good, because I need to get those lost levels back. Hey, Raceland got lesser summoning again. And there's something else. I now have a theory about the disk corruption problem. I've been playing the Bard's Tale on a PC laptop using Vice, a popular Commodore 64 emulator. And it occurred to me that both of my corruptions happened after I shut the laptop case without properly shutting down Vice. So even though the character disk finished saving properly, I think Vice holds onto the disk somehow. And then when I close the laptop cover, the computer shuts down and it gets corrupted. At least that's the theory. I shut down Vice properly a while ago and everything worked fine. So hopefully I've solved that problem. This is absolutely something we didn't have to worry about in 1985. Alright, we're back in Harkyn's castle, continuing to explore the second level. The new monsters keep on coming. Green dragons, fire giants, were-tigers, and azure monks, just to name a few. And even better, adamantium. It's not just for Wolverine anymore. Adamantium is an upgrade on Mithril, and equipping it means that I'll be able to start reducing the amount of armor each of my characters needs to wear, which will give me more space for other items. Remember when I said Harkyn's castle doesn't fool around? Check this out. There's an area on level 2 with 5 long rooms, each with nothing in them except for a monster or two and a tile that dishes out damage, just like that hallway near the jail on level 1. They aren't traps, so you can't disarm them, and since you really should explore every square, there's no way to avoid them. These rooms held no clues, no hints, no special items. Just pain. Lots and lots of pain. As I've mentioned a couple of times, inventory management is a real issue in here. My party is stacked with items and I keep getting more, and most of them completely useless. So I have to keep dropping piles of items in order to make sure I have room for anything important that comes my way. The cleaning staff here is not going to be pleased with me. Along the way, we discovered this magic mouth with a riddle. Playing the rhyming game, it feels like shields is really the only thing that works, so let's try that. Nice! What a cool find! Enjoy your new shield, Sturm. Over the next few hours, a rhythm started to emerge. Head to level 2, explore a section of dungeon, and then head back to town for healing, fresh spell points, and some new levels. You know, the Bard's Tale grind. But out of this comes a lot of progress and experience points. Gandalf has already regained Mindblade and can now cast level 6 sorcerer spells. And Raceland, well, he can now cast Prime Summoning, which allows us to summon a medium-level demon or elemental to join us. And those guys are good companions. And all along, we keep fighting new monsters, find lots of adamantium, and, as a result, leave more piles of equipment. But slowly, the level is revealing itself to us. And hey, we found the entrance to level 3, which is just a hole in the ceiling. And then we discovered slave quarters, which oddly turned out to be way tougher than the guard room below. A group of 8 Mangar guards were located in here, and they hit hard. Worse, they're almost unhittable themselves. That was a tough one. And then, just a bit later, we ran into a wizened man with a riddle. You know, I remember this riddle back from 1985. Not the exact wording, of course, but I remember the answer, and I remember feeling so pleased with myself when I solved it. And looking back at it all these years later, come on, that's possibly the easiest riddle ever written. But yay me in 1985, I guess. Solving that riddle landed me on a teleporter, which sent me to the southwest corner of the dungeon. And right there was a silver square, which is another important quest item and is the main treasure that level 2 of the castle has to offer. And, as it happens, it's also the last section of the level that I needed to explore. So I'm finished with level 2 and ready to ascend to face the stony mad god Tarjan. And you know what? He's in trouble. When the party first arrived in Harkyn's castle, I wasn't so sure about this place. Every fight seemed to drain my spell points, monsters were beating us up pretty badly, and Red was regularly getting dispelled. But after about 10 hours of exploring and mapping, things have changed. The adamantium is flowing, we're summoning powerful demons, and both Raistlin and Gandalf can unleash Mangar's Mind Blade. I don't remember exactly what's waiting for us upstairs, but we're ready. But first, we need to make a run by Garth's. Hi Garth! To pick up an adamantium helm for Sturm. And then it's off to the review board, where Ozzy leveled up again. From here, we'll close things down and save my progress. And hopefully not get a corrupted disc in the process. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the 7th episode of the Bard's Tale Diaries. If you did, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. And if you have any memories or helpful tips for the Bard's Tale, I'm all ears. Drop them in the comments. Hope to see you again.